Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another Crypto Maniacs podcast. I think this is 205. I always write down our show numbers. I do that because I need to have numbers in front of me, man. If I don't have numbers, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't know about you, Tass. Do you like numbers? Do you
Yes.
care? No.
Yes.
Yes. It's deep thoughts by Tass, ladies and gentlemen. So big shout out to everyone on Threads. I had a lot of fun on Threads today. I asked for questions for the audience, and we had a few. I'll go over a few of them in a second. But as it's customary, like we do each and every time we fire this up, we got to see how Task's weekend was, because I haven't spoken to you since Thursday. So, how did it go, man? Did you sell all your crypto or what?
No, I didn't sell any crypto. I didn't buy any crypto. I just worked on Leo Glossary. I did some threads. I did beat Cal. He sent me 250 Leo.
Oh.
And he bet me again that he can out thread me this week. So not only does he have a foot fetish, he's a masochist. So I'll take another 250 Leo from him this week, I presume. He seems to think he's going to be able to post more threads than I can.
Highly doubt it. You are a machine, man.
That's what he thought last week, and he lost by I at least doubled him. So,
yeah.
Leo's a fungible token, but I will tell you something, John. Leo that comes out of Cal's wallet is more special.
It really doesn't. It feels good, right?
It's a lot better.
Hive says, Eliana said, I got bad news for you, Task.
What's the bad news?
This is from John Bestart in Vim. He wants to know how the two smartest guys in the cryptoverse are doing.
And we'll have to ask Stan and Starkers. I mean, I don't know.
He puts that out there, and I'm like, smartest. I mean, dude, I can't
he's obviously not talking about you and I. I mean,
I turn my computer on sometimes, and it's a little bit of a miracle. I mean,
it's I don't know where's Stan and Starkers. I don't know who's. I will tell you honestly, when it comes to crypto, there are a lot of stupid people, though. I've been going back and forth on economic and monetary matters, and it's like, you fucking people don't know what's going on.
It's the best.
Even Addicted called it out and said, he wrote a post to me, asking me to further clarify things, because he says it's not enough just telling these idiots they don't know what they're talking about. Well, they don't. Addicted, to his credit, I mean, one thing you could say about Addicted, I mean, he'll go hell bent on a post, but Addicted does learn. He does. He'll go hell bent on a post and write up a post that's like completely wrong. And when somebody corrects him, he's like, "Oh, okay," and he'll write a post saying how much of a fool he was and how he was wrong.
So ego does not drive him. Then that's what you're saying. Ego does not drive him.
Well, I'm sure he's like everybody else to a degree. It does, but I mean, he has no problem, calling himself an idiot publicly and saying, "Oh, I just ran my mouth or my keyboard and I didn't know what I was talking about." But he will learn. I mean, he does, get in there and mix it up on Twitter, which, I mean, people who get in there and talk endlessly, like to Bitcoin maxis, it's like, what are you doing? They're not going to listen. They don't know what they're talking about. They have this ideology. It's like trying to talk somebody out of their religion.
Yeah.
Well, if you try to talk a Catholic or a Muslim or somebody of Jewish faith, you're not going to talk them out of it. And that's why Bitcoin maximalism is. It's a religion.
It's a religion. It definitely is. Yeah.
And people can say, well, you guys are Hive maxis, and that may be true to a degree, but I'm very open-minded. Show me something that can beat it, and actually, don't show me, because I'm a moron when it comes mostly outside this system. Go convince they call me Dan. If you convince they
Yeah.
call me Dan and says, you're right, there's something there, there's something as good as Hive, I'll defer to him. Fine. You convince him, I'll defer to him. He knows. I mean, this guy appears to spend hours dissecting all of these other ecosystems. And he doesn't come up with anything that can compete. So, you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
say if you can compete, I mean, Ethereum, yeah, they got a lot more money. We know that, but there's two nodes that run the whole show. And
Yeah.
then I don't know much about Lightning Network, but you listen to Brian of London for about 10 minutes on Lightning Network, and he'll just tell you he knows what he's doing and how hard it is to run that shit.
Mm.
So, it's like how
I, I
how how's anybody going to do this?
I think you bring up a really good point. And this is the problem when we think we know it all and we're always right, everyone else is wrong. Like if there was, and this is the thing, like if there was a better community in crypto, if there was a better blockchain for building online businesses, if there was better applications, I'm not against it. I just, again, 5 years of being deep into this, 10 years in general, I just haven't found anything that competes or compares with Hive. And
Well,
maybe I got my little fanboy hat on, but it's not like I'm not looking and I'm not paying attention. I just don't see it.
well,
So,
I think my view is you have a fundamental problem if you're not on Hive when talking about this stuff. Because how do you have social media, whatever you want to define it as, but social media applications which are commenting, some type of posting a video or a pictures or memes or blogs or something. You have some type of content posted, you have upvotes, you have comments, you have all of this stuff. How can you do it with transaction fees? To me, that's you're dead in the water. So anything that has direct transaction fees, even if it's a penny or 2 pennies, who the hell's going to pay 2 pennies to give an upvote? And you may do it once or twice, but who the hell's going to give 2 pennies to upvote 200 times a day?
right.
You're not. And that's where I think from the social media aspect of things, I mean, the monetary system, as I've broken it down, is basically a ledger and communication, which in this day and age is a digital network.
Mm,
Well, the ledger everybody does. Any blockchain does it. Bitcoin keeps a ledger. Hive keeps a ledger. Ethereum keeps ledgers. They all keep ledgers of the wallets, of balances. They solve the double spend. You may not like how they do it, but they all do it.
mhm,
But above and beyond that, what kind of communication system? What kind of network do you have? What kind of scalability do you have? I mean, Bitcoin, it takes you 10 minutes on a good day to get your transaction to settle.
right.
Hive does it in, according to block trades in about 1.6, 1.7 seconds. And it's totally irreversible. You start looking at this stuff and you start dissecting it, and it's like, what competes? And they always say, well, the best technology doesn't always win. No, it doesn't always win, but it usually wins. You
Mm.
know, why did Google become the de facto search engine? Because Google kicked the living shit. And John, you and I are old enough, and we remember when this came around.
Web crawler.
Google kicked the living shit out of everything else that was out there. And people don't realize Google was nothing at that time compared to Yahoo. Google was late to the search engine game compared to Yahoo. Google was late to the email game compared to Yahoo. And Google kicked the snot out of them in bold.
Mhm.
Google just came out with better tech.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't that it was a better user experience because using each is pretty simple. Using email is pretty simple. It's just they had a better technology.
Right.
And that's what often wins. And so I feel very confident on Hive. Maybe you and I are both misplaced, but if we're misplaced, just tell me something that tops it.
Well, and this is welcome to the Cryptomaniacs podcast where we beat dead horses each and every week.
Next,
I
we're
was
going to
on
talk about people being consistent.
Yeah,
That's
we
a
are
novel.
consistent. We are
That's a
product.
novel. Yeah, that's the second half of the show.
We practice what we preach. I was hanging out on crypto Twitter again today, and we are actually streaming on crypto Twitter. We're on YouTube. I'm even streaming on my personal Facebook page. So big shout out to all my offline friends that are going, "What the hell are you talking about, John?" Um, but I'm hanging out on crypto Twitter, and you know what happens? Uh, the crypto influencers start complaining about Elon Musk and start complaining about getting banned on YouTube and start complaining about TikTok and all of the influence that China's got in TikTok. They're complaining consistently about all of these Web 2 things, but beside their name is usually crypto or Bitcoin girl or so
Yeah.
and so teenager or whatever. I mean, all of them. Not like very few actually use Web3 and blockchain. Now, I'm not talking getting their donations from certain companies that they're paid
Yeah.
to endorse the token.
Yeah.
Actually using it, pretty slim pickings, very slim. And
Well,
it just amuses me to no end to watch them whine. And I'm just sitting there and I put the meme out on Threads today. You know, I'm sipping my little tea like Kermit the Frog, going, none of my business. I'm just going to sit here on Threads and enjoy my Web3 experience. But yeah.
here's the deal on that. They talk about Web3. They talk about, crypto, and their talk. Not only, John, do we use,
Mhm.
but we actually have the ability to aid in the design. I mean, obviously, you with CTP have direct influence, but I put together a post a couple of weeks ago on Leo Finance that, based upon Cal's teasing, which he teases a lot, he I think he's going to incorporate a bunch of what I put in there, and that's a major difference. That you could go on the Leo threads,
Yeah.
you being John G. Olson, you could type, you can interact, you can engage, and you could say whatever you write, as a suggestion, hashtag feedback. Cal will see that. And
Yeah.
if it's a good idea and something that, hey, I like that, I'll put it on the list. He'll incorporate it. You could have it incorporated in. Now, if I did the same thing on Twitter and I hashtag Elon Musk or at Elon Musk,
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah.
And, obviously I'm a big Elon Musk fan for Tesla. I think I said this on the show before. I really don't give a shit about his investment in Twitter. It
Mhm.
has no bearing on my life. Um, but I do know this about Elon Musk. Don't fucking bet against him. And so people are sitting there saying he's ruined Twitter and this Twitter's going down and this, that. Um, he even came out and said, well, I bought it for 44 billion and now it's probably worth less than 20 billion. But I'm confident it could be worth 250 billion.
Yeah.
IA wouldn't bet against Twitter having a market cap of 250 billion. And I do understand what he's doing with his, master plan for Twitter and turn it into a financial institution. And quite frankly, it's legit. He can do
Mhm.
that. I mean, he'll have to get some licensing, which he's applied for the payments. He'll probably end up having to buy out some applications like for mortgages, like a rocket mortgage or something like that. Have
Mhm.
to spend a few hundred million here and there to buy up some of these apps, just so he instantly can be in those games and incorporate them in. But I think he's on a good path. But you're right, he's absolutely correct. All these people, it was kind of like the CTT guys were making fun of Ethereum when Vital said, well, we'll use Reddit as our, social media to converse and talk about this stuff. And it's like, you're going to go to Web2 to use as your governance conversations.
Mhm.
Uh, and I listened to Cal on the AMA today, and they're really working this polls thing. And
Mhm.
his goal there is to have fully decentralized polls where, voting systems for governance is done through polls on Leo threads because it's all on the blockchain. You can read the custom JSONs. Anybody disputes the voting, you
Mhm.
simply just pull the information from all the custom JSONs and say, I don't care if you say you had 55 votes, you only had 52. There it is. You
Yeah.
lost. I mean, it's that is something that's the level Hive's operating at. Then you look at Bitcoin so and so influencer. What the fuck level are they operating at? They're on
Mhm.
YouTube making videos talking
There's
about
only 21 million of them forever.
yeah, yeah. I was listening to a couple guys who are really experts at the monetary system, the euro dollar system, and they were being interviewed by a guy, and I don't know who this guy was. I've never seen him or his podcast or whatever, but he was interviewing these two guys who I've followed for years and know where they're coming from. And he asked them about uh, USDCs, and he said the Bitcoin maxis. He says, which I call Bitcoin fascists. He goes, they're Bitcoin fascists. And I had a laugh. I was doing something. I almost dropped what I was working on because I just started busting out. But that's about how they are. And
Mm.
it's like no sensibility. And, these two other guys, they just laugh because they know about money. And it's like they know how absurd these people are. So, I mean, that's just why I remain optimistic about Hive. I
Yeah.
may be an idiot. You may be an idiot. But they call me Dan, really research this. Starkers, who really researches this stuff. We got people like Block Trades, who some people don't like him. That's fine. He's always been good to us. So I don't think
Yeah.
either of us have a problem with Block Trades. But the guy is highly knowledgeable. We've had Hou on a couple times. This guy seems to know his shit. Then you got people floating around working with different projects like Markey. And again, Markey may not is not liked by everybody, but Markey, I can tell you, knows his shit.
Mhm.
At
Yeah.
least from the areas I've seen him delving into, and so you start to look at this, and there's a lot of other people. I mean, then you look at the team that Block Trades put together, the team that Cal puts together. You look at all these other people, and it's like they're assembling people who know what the hell they're doing.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's we had Bob the Builder, and he was talking about CyberX and the vision there that he kind of stumbled upon. He wasn't even part of the project. He just kind of looked at it from the outside and liked what the main people were doing, and it's pretty it's pretty incredible. So, it's just that's the stuff we have here, and that's obviously no slight to Vitalik and people like that,
Right.
and some of the developers on Ethereum. I mean, I'm sure they're absolute geniuses, but it's not like we got a bunch of dumbasses running around on Hive either. I mean, we got some very knowledgeable
Right.
people, especially from a technical standpoint.
Yeah. Um, Big shout out to One Alpha too, watching the show. The
One,
legend
yep,
that is
one
Torrid.
alpha.
And Morton Matt D is here as well, and he just put in threads that this is the idiot gang. I agree, man. Yes, absolutely. We did have a question from an amazing Jerry the Farmer wanted to know what your current OS is. That's literally the question we got for this week's Cryptomaniacs.
I'm on Windows.
Windows. There you go.
Windows and Android. Those are what I use.
Mm. One Alpha actually said polls are great, but what about governance on Polycub, which was promised to come to Cub and Leo too? I'll tell you my situation, which is always a fun situation when you're dealing with MetaMask and John. I have no idea where I can log into Polycub and Cub anymore. My keys are in the netherworld. They're in the nether region. So I have a whole bunch of Cub that was in a kingdom. I don't know if it's still mining or getting that. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with Polycub. I can't log in. So I can't really speak on Cub or Leo, or not Leo, excuse me, Cub or Polycub, because I can't even get in there because of the amazing idiot gang. I own that. Yes. I don't know. You know anything about governance on Cub?
I can only surmise. I think, and don't hold me to this, but there was a proposal for Polycup that got shot down, and it was a
Mhm.
proposal similar to Cup. And I think the inclination is okay. We're going forward with Cub with this new, um, burn system, and it looks like that the month of March may be the first time where Cub actually goes deflationary, where
Mhm.
there will be less Cub at the end of the month than the start of the month. And I think if that indeed, which it should be, the start of a new tokenomics of Cub, I believe that the hope, and it'll have to go through the community, is the hope is that that'll be transferred and approved to go to Leo. Now, in terms of governance, I don't know if there's going to be. I mean, I remember in the past there was talk of maybe dropping a governance token to Leo. Um, again, it's not a. I mean, it might end up being trade. It probably wouldn't be a tradable token. It would just be a governance token. I
Right.
don't know if you have to go to that extent, because you can just use governance. The Leo Power stake, and there's your governance, if you ask me. But I don't know if that's going to be built into the new UI. I don't know how that's been delayed. I mean, it's there's certain things that seem to fall through the cracks. They get picked up, but that's why I said in the last AMA, I put in the thread for the last AMA. I also put it in the feedback. We need some roadmaps on some of this stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
start with Leo threads. Give us a 90-day roadmap. I mean, or give us a 6-month roadmap and say, okay, this is what we expect over the next 6 months, and we expect some of this could happen in the next, 1 to 2 months. This could happen in the next 3 to 4 months. Just give some idea of directions. And, I think that's part of the transition that I think needs to be made with some of these projects, especially a project like Leo. Get out of the backwoods. It's time to bring a degree of professionalism. And we had a Nomad Soul on a couple of weeks ago, and his business experience is helpful. Uh, I'm hoping that some of that bleeds through and saying, okay, when you say you're going to have a show, start at that time. That's called building credibility. When you
Mhm.
say you're going to do something, you know, do it. And it's just and I'm not saying that you have to build a roadmap and everything has to happen on an exact day, and you got to give an exact day and an exact time where something's going to be released, because anybody who knows about development knows that's impossible.
Mhm.
It just doesn't work like that. But at least give people a general plan, especially when you're asking them to have faith in you, especially when you're saying, buy my token, buy our token. This, you want to talk all this stuff up, that's fine, but at least present a roadmap. If not, it looks like chaos. And I think this is part of what is turning some people off. This is just an outside opinion about Splinterlands. It seems
Mhm.
like every time you turn around, they're creating just a new token. But what's the plan here? How are you tying all this in together? When is all of this going to start to leverage itself against the other parts for greater gain? And I could draw that roadmap for Leo Finance, but that would be my hypothesis.
Right.
I'm not the one behind this, so I can't say this is how it's going to unfold. I'm not in the inner circle. I'm not part of this directly. So that's what needs to be done. And one alpha, yes, roadmaps would be very good, and you could write a roadmap for Leo out for Cub, for Leo Threads, for Polycub, you know, and at least give some general guidelines where this is where we're going over the next half year. And
Yeah.
then, you're going to make it on some things, you'll miss on others. That's fine. We all understand.
It's one of the things, that I learned years and years and years of doing business online is that people literally are attracted to action. So if people in a community see things, and I think that's what really got people excited about Leo again, was Threads is this potential behemoth in the
Mhm.
crypto space. Like just this absolute aha moment for anyone that really grasps it. And that attracted a lot of people to Leo. And this is something that, for anyone that's building on the blockchain or building online businesses or whatever, like attracts like, man. People want to be around and take part in communities that are visible, that are active, that are doing things. Now, just like you said, you don't need to hit on everything. Gosh knows how many times I've failed over the past 20 years of my life. I mean, but it's the fact that you're doing things. People want to see that. So all the projects out there, all you got to do, you don't need to create Picasso's here. We're not talking about, revolutionizing the world, but if you're out there and you're putting yourself out there and you're putting your projects out there and you're putting your community out there, I think good things will happen.
Well, I agree with you. One thing I give Cal and the Leo team credit for is they are flexible.
For sure.
They do reevaluate. They say what we're doing isn't working in this particular area. Let's go a different direction. Let's try something else. And a lot of this stuff's uncharted territory. So with Cub, with Polycub, you create something, you roadmap something out, it makes some sense, you start going forward, and things don't turn out as you want. The one positive about those two projects is they're still alive and kicking. They might be seemingly on life support, but they're still around. A lot of DeFi from 2 years ago isn't around. Okay, that's good. That's a feather in their cap. That's an asset that you're willing to be flexible, to change your plans. You're not married to driving off the cliff just because this is the turn you took in the road, and it's like, well, we got to go all the way to the end. No, you stop before you crash. But like you mentioned, numbers to start the show. This is the first time, and this I think is credit to a Nomad Soul, where he keeps talking about these MAUs, and he's putting out charts, and he's talking about it, and he's saying this is where we are with 8 days left. That's exciting to people.
Yeah.
Why are they required to report their numbers, publicly traded companies, every quarter? It's so people can size up what the hell's going on. Now, I understand with a lot of these projects, it's difficult because we don't have revenue metrics. We don't have a lot of profitability metrics. We don't have those type of metrics, but there are metrics. How many users are showing up each month? How many page views do you have each month? This is ABC basic stuff of online businesses, online sites. How many visitors do you get? How many page views? How long do they spend on a page? Mm-hmm. This is information that should be put out on something like Leo Finance and charted. And now we're getting the MAUs, which is a good thing. So we can see the progress, which all of us who have Leo Power, our stakeholders, can say, okay, things are getting better. Okay, yeah, we were at 1,000 3 months ago. Now we're at 5,000, and then 6 months later we're at 10,000. Hey, you can see the growth. That's a good thing. Right. These are the things that people need to do. And when you look at some of these sites like on CTPX we talked about last week, and forget what they are, but what do you see? You see counters on gambling sites. 1.2 million games played. You see these things about how many people did this, how many people did that. Because when you quantify something, then you're starting to drive it home, and it's trackable. And when you have stuff that's trackable, now you're acting like a freaking business. What do businesses track? They track their sales, they track their revenues, they track their profits, they track their customer growth. They track how many customers they've lost, how many customers they've gained, how many new customers, how much more are they selling, same store sales, all this stuff, profit margins, production per line. I mean, all of these things are just stuff businesses track. Well, you need to put that out there for people to track and people to put together if you want to be treated like a business. And you and I have
Mhm.
said for more than a year, we need people on Hive who are business people, thinking like business people, using business metrics, operating with a business sense, and not sitting there fucking around with tokenomics to make the price go up. We all want the price go up, but we don't want it to go up. I don't want Leo to go from whatever it is now, 4 cents, 5 cents to 50 cents and then crash down to a penny. That sucks. Build something. But if you start to put out the numbers, if you say, this is what we're doing, if you start putting out the roadmaps and you let the people who are supporting you or following you follow along and say, okay, we're making these metrics, we're not making these metrics, then you have something. How many threads are being done a day? How many threads have been done total? How many polls were done? All of this stuff comes into play.
Yeah. One Alpha's got a question here. What do you guys think about Cal using very extensively lately Leo creations using wrapped Leo steak? I didn't
I,
even know that was going on. Yeah.
Leo curations using wrapped Leo steak. I don't know what he's doing there. I mean, that's something. If I'm reading it right, um, he's curating out of the wrapped Leo account. Uh, so I don't know. See
Mm.
picture. Is this in the threadcast?
Might be in thread.
Screw the map.
Screw the map. We don't need no sticking maps.
Uh, yeah, I honestly can't answer that one, Alpha. I don't know exactly what he's doing, and I don't see the I don't see the image that you're talking about. But and I don't want to attack Cal. I mean, Cal's done a lot of great things, but there's also some things that I think need some help.
Mm,
And uh, none of us are perfect, but it's it's something that there's room for improvement. And I think if you want the market cap of Leo Finance to be in the millions upon millions, maybe into the tens of millions, you got to operate like a business that's worth tens of millions of dollars.
mhm,
That's just my view. Um, it's the old act as if principle. You want to be the most successful salesperson. Act like you're the most successful salesperson. Dress like you're the most successful salesperson. Take the action that the most successful salesperson will do.
right.
And you may not be the most successful salesperson, but you'll probably get pretty damn close. And that's what I think. I think if you're going to sit there and say we want a market cap of Leo, this holding company, to be worth 25, 50, $100 million, well, it's time to start acting like $100 million fucking outfit and
Mm,
start to do the things that $100 million outfits do. And the potentiality's there, without a doubt. And I think that has to go to every project out there. I mean, if you want to be taken seriously, start acting serious. Stop being this bullshit. Well, we're on Hive. We're doing this. We're doing fuck that. You're on Hive. Hive. You don't think Block Trades takes the code that his team's putting together pretty damn seriously?
mm,
Of course he is. So that's where I think it comes down to, uh, people acting like they're they're already at the point they want to get at. And there's too much shit on Hive that it's like it's a hobby. The dedication may be there, but they're still acting like it's a hobby, like it's a game. And I just, to me, that's just dumbfounding that, like you said, yes, number one is you have to have people want to see progress, but people need to know what's going on.
Mhm.
and just giving an AMA that starts at a random time, that because you can't get yourself to start at a consistent time. I mean, that's bullshit. You and I mean, we were late today. First off, it was announced that we were going to be late because we know what time the damn show starts.
Mm.
So we know where we're going to be every Tuesday and Thursday evening, for both of us. We know it. It's no secret. Cal knows every Tuesday he has an AMA. You can't say it's at Tuesday at 12 o'clock his time or 11 o'clock his time. It's at 11 o'clock. Start the damn thing on time.
Mm.
And, these are the little things. And I'm glad One Alpha's listening and tuning in, because he'll tell you this is the stuff that inspires confidence. You don't have to bring out the biggest and the best. Yes, we want the major upgrades, we want the home runs, but a lot of times those are few and far between. But you can always manage how you behave. You can always manage when you show up. You can always manage when you start stuff. And we don't pretend to be a professional show here. I mean, look at us. I mean, we're both in t-shirts. You're in your hat. I'm in sunglasses. You know, but we start the show on time most weeks.
Mm.
We once in a while there'll be something, and that happens. I understand, but more often than not, when we say the show starts at 5 o'clock your time, we start at 5 o'clock your time.
Right.
And especially when we have guests, we're always on time, because we know how valuable the guest time are and the listeners. And so, these are just little things that I learned over 30 years in sales and marketing. And anybody who's run a business, anybody who's been in that type of business where you're dealing with people who buy stuff from you, it's the little things. It's the follow up on the email. It's the replying to the email in a timely manner. It's getting their bill straightened out if they have a problem with their bill. It's if the product that they purchase is defective, it's changing it out immediately. These are the things that are important, and I think that carries through into the crypto world.
Mm.
I remember one guy saying, "How you do anything is how you do everything." And that's so true. And if you're going to have a lackadaisical attitude about showing up on time, you know, what does that say about you? What does it say, John, when you have somebody who's coming to do business with you and they're 20 minutes late and they're
Mm.
always late? Or if you have a friend who's always late, what does that say about how that friend values your time? I mean,
Yeah.
what does it say about the person? They're not reliable. They don't
Mm.
call. They don't show up. No show, no call. You know, and that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, it's it's kind of funny you mentioned that. It's something my wife and I battle about all the time. Like we'll have an appointment to go somewhere, or the kids got a doctor's appointment, and I'm sitting there. Let's go. We're gonna be late. Let's go. We're gonna be late. And she always says she's on island time or whatever. And it's just I don't know what it is. I like for me, I agree with you. I think if it's gonna be you're gonna be there, you're gonna be there. Simple, but but that's not all. That's not necessarily only a crypto thing. That goes across the board.
No,
Um,
what
yeah,
I'm saying is actually not from crypto. I mean,
right.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're in sales and you're constantly showing up to your appointments late, you're not going to be in sales too long because you're not making many sales.
Is that
When
the old?
when you talk to a business owner and you set an appointment and say, "I'll be there at 10 o'clock on Thursday," you damn well better be sitting in his or her lobby 5 minutes before 10 at least. And if you're
Mm.
late, you better let them know, and it better not be a habit. I mean, once in a while, everybody understands, but consistently, no, they won't do business with you
Mm.
because you're not trustworthy. You don't even have the ability to show up on time. How is your company? You're reflecting of your company. How's your company going to send service personnel out? How do I know you're company's going to even have the parts on hand when you need them? How do I know your company's going to get the bill right? On and on and on, because you're a reflection of the company you represent. You're a reflection of the entity you represent. And you and I go on and on about these dipshits on Hive and sitting there complaining about the upvotes and all this other stuff, putting it on chain, and this is going to kill this place. And then they wonder why the fucking token price isn't going up. It's like, what are you, an idiot? What is the problem with an open database, an open system? Anybody can fucking post. That's a problem. You don't see anybody handling the marketing for Facebook or Apple. You don't see some schlep who works in, wherever in Apple, sitting there popping off. Oh, well, this is the problem of Apple, and these products suck and all this other stuff. No, Apple, Facebook, Google, Tesla, General Motors, any of these companies, they take great pains to massage their brand.
This brings up something I want to talk about. The mentality of the upvote. I've messed around with other social media, Web3, crypto projects out there. What you don't see is people complaining about how much they're earning ever. Now,
Of course not.
no, that being said, I haven't gone to Torum in a long time. I haven't gone to any, the BitNoise Cash or whatever. Like, I haven't been to those things in a long time, but I did spend time there, and I did build followings in the whole nine. But I never saw that. But in the DNA of Hive, for whatever reason, and I'm asking you, what is it? Because there seems to be this I'm owed thing on Hive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm owed this. Where does that come from?
Well, and it's interesting, and it's funny because you have what one alpha and I on here. That only applies at Hive. You don't see any of that on Leo. You don't see any of that on CTP. How many people sit there and say, I deserve more on CTP, John? I post on CTP Talk. I think Eliana should upvote my stuff. I think, Blaine should upvote my stuff. I deserve more CTP.
Right.
It's only Hive. And, I don't know where that comes from in the DNA, other than that the early marketing was always, well, come and we'll pay you money. And we'll give you you'll earn $1,500 by your third post. I mean, I guess there's still that hangover. Also, there's a fair bit of money distributed each day on Hive, which I don't think you had on those other things like Noise Cash. I mean, those people were just tipping out of their own pocket.
Yeah, you never knew. There was no rewards pool, right? There was no, this is what we got.
Yeah, and so we have a trending page, and we promote it, and here's what people are earning and that type of stuff, and it's always in your face. And I mean, it's like, One Alpha probably is one of the largest Leo holders. I got significant stake, and we don't have any of these problems on Leo. Now, One Alpha doesn't act like a jackass of a whale. I don't act like a jackass of a whale. Now, that doesn't mean at times One Alpha won't go after somebody who's abusing the system, in his opinion, and he has. And he's written articles about it, and he's pointed things out, and he's called it out in the past, and I applaud him for it. He didn't get rude about it. He was just very matter of fact about it and saying, this is what's going on. Here's somebody, self-voting. Here's somebody, just basically, taken from the reward pool, not giving back. And that's fine. But the focus is on,
generally the layer twos don't have that's on Hive with
and also because right now everybody, for whatever reason, still I think we know the reasons. It's because only Hive has the value, but nobody focuses on Leo. Nobody focuses on CTP. Nobody's really focusing. Yeah, they like getting the tokens in addition to Hive, but it's like, I guarantee you the first breakout. And hopefully it'll be Leo, because I think it will be the first breakout. But think back when Splinterlands was at its peak during that bull run, and you had people with $1 million stakes in Splinterlands, you being one of them, was anybody fucking complaining? No, because they
I'm
had,
complaining now.
yeah, they had $1 million stakes and hundreds of thousands of dollars at stake. And I think what'll happen is if Leo finance takes off and the price of Leo escalates and starts to get where you have people with hundreds of thousands of dollars and maybe even into millions of dollars in
Worth a
Leo,
Leo, right?
then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that those Leos are worth 75 cents a piece or 50 cents a piece or 30 cents a piece. And I got 20 Leo today. That's like, you know, $12 or $6 or whatever it is. And it's like, then all of a sudden people are saying, holy crap. And then they'll be pissed and bitching that, how come more people don't vote on me for on Leo Finance? But I could use my entire stake downvoting motherfuckers on Leo Finance because, you know, we've had microblogging on Leo Finance for 3 years. I mean,
Mhm.
these assholes long form blogging, they're putting up 120 word posts. It's like, give me a fucking break. Okay, you
Mhm.
don't have to write a 12 or 1400 word post, but at least get the 500 words or, have something really serious with a chart and, something that took you, obviously you put a lot of effort into. But, I don't, I mean, it's obvious the monetary aspect of Hive is the focus, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, the direction cryptocurrency is going in and the joining of social media and finance. I think this is the path. And so you want people to have stake, you want people to have assets because that's when your collateralization for lending and all kinds of stuff and people can take these assets that are not liquid and maybe utilize them and leverage them to go into other areas that can help our growth at a much quicker pace. Uh,
Mhm.
but we got to get to that point first, and we're not close yet.
Do you see, and because we're just the biggest investors and Bollinger Band guys out there, do you see a 2023 where Leo is 50 cents? Do you see that?
I see the possibility. I
Mm,
don't. I can't say because we're going back to what the hell, we were talking about before.
mm,
I don't know the roadmap. I don't know the numbers, but yes, in fact, the post I wrote a couple of weeks ago, I most certainly think it can because if you start to get the Leo ad revenue getting up near $10,000 a month.
yeah.
And I don't know what it is at now. I can't tell you, John. I can't tell you if it's 4,000, 2,000, 5,000, 6,000. Hell, for all we know, maybe we're at 20,000. I don't know. See, I don't have these numbers. They should be out there.
Mm,
But I anticipate if you get that Leo ad revenue to $10,000 a month, that's $120,000 a year, on average, that is in buy support of Leo.
right.
You start to take that, and then if you do what I said and don't do this fucking burn, because nobody's going to buy your token because you're burning it. That's like saying somebody buys a stock because you're doing stock buybacks. That's a dumb reason to buy a stock. If you take that Leo that you buy from the ad revenues and you direct that towards Leo power holders, and now you turned Leo into an access token, which says you can get a portion of the revenues by staking this Leo, buying it, earning it, whatever. You stake it, then we're going to go out and through the traffic, through the engagement, through everything, we're going to buy the tokens off the open market and send them out to the Leo Power holders. So it's to your benefit to stake more. You'll get more of the revenue each month. You do that, now there's incentive, not for one alpha to add more, although one alpha probably would add more, not for me to add more, although I probably would add more, but for somebody who has 300, 500, 1,000 Leo power to say, I want to get 1,500. I want 2,000 Leo. I want 2,500 Leo because now they're getting more Leo sent to them and you get the circular economy going. So I certainly see that as a potentiality. I cannot say it will be a probability because I don't know the roadmap. I mean, again, we go back to that. What's going on? And, Cal may have this idea set forth. Cal may sit there, and he even said something to me today. And he says, well, it goes back to a post I wrote a year ago. And I said, yeah. And since that post, you've done nothing but talk about token burns. What the fuck happened to that idea from a year ago? Um, and this is what I think has to come forth as these project leaders of these projects. And it doesn't have to be Cal. I mean, if a nomad soul is the man who understands this, who grasps this, who can do it, let him nomad soul do it. I mean, he's a very engaging, very interactive individual. He seems to understand this. He has a lot of business sense. I don't know his background per se, but he obviously in our conversation understood where we were all coming from. Maybe that's a guy to delegate that to. So, these are things that I think get people excited, and it makes it a lot easier for somebody like me to say, fine, sell your Leo. I don't give a crap, because I think in 6 months, you're going to really be kicking yourself. Now, I can say that right now. I do say that right now, but I don't say that from a place of certainty based upon the plan. I base it upon what I project the plan to be. And that's a different story. And I think any project that wants to be taken seriously has to talk to the token holders like their employees. You go to any company, okay, maybe the president or CEO or business owner doesn't speak to everybody, but the business owner speaks to the managers, and the managers then get and have their sales meeting or their department meetings or whatever, and there's a vision of where the organization wants to go. That's what successful organizations do. Non-successful ones, they don't have those means. They just say, like a guy I worked for a long time, he said, well, just sell more. Well, and you wonder why your business isn't growing overall by leaps and bounds. Sell more doesn't answer anything.
I got the link here from One Alpha. You want to check it out here?
Did you throw it in the threads?
Well, I was just going to share it here on the screen so you could see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
You see that there?
I can't read that. I can't read that.
All right.
I can't read it.
No. Okay. Well, I'll send it. I'll send it to you, and then maybe you can take a look at it and let One Alpha know, or dive into it, because that's, to me, I me. I mean, I'm but as useful as. I'll send you a note on with the link for it, Task. So it's right there. So yeah. Well, just before I leave that thought, you're talking about, the don't burn it, buy it type thing. It's one of the things we decided at CTP was, when we first started it, we thought burning was the answer to everything, basically because that's what everyone said they were doing, burning tokens. So we said, what we're going to do instead is we'll just distribute more by buying CTP off the market. So we've been steadily doing it, and with CTPX, and the CTPX account has been constantly buying CTP off the market, not massive amounts, 25 Hive worth every now and again, and it's been going good, man. The end goal, I mean, I think this is, I hope this is for the majority of people on Hive, is token distribution, seeing it get out to more people, whether it's CTP, whether it's Leo, whether it's Hive, whether it's sports, whichever. I just think there's power when you have tokens distributed to tons of people. That's my opinion, at least. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it's it's a much stronger economy, a much stronger project. I mean, listen, if we had on Leo 5,000 people earning Leo a month, whatever amount they're earning, as opposed to, let's say, 1,000, the 5,000 earning Leo versus 1,000 is much better, even though it cuts into the individual earning of everybody else, and probably the earning of the top earners. Fine. there's no problem with that, because if you have Leo going into 5,000 wallets a month, or CTP going into 5,000 wallets a month, that is a stronger ecosystem than 1,000. And if
Yeah.
you can then take that from 5,000 to 10,000, and now you got those same tokens going to 10,000 wallets, that makes it that much stronger. And that's where resiliency comes in, because then all of a sudden, let's say you have somebody like One Alpha, who's a major stakeholder, and One Alpha, for whatever reason, decides he's moving on. He's had enough. He's going to liquidate his assets and go buy a condo. I mean, whatever his reason is, he decides he's going to move on. Well, if you have 10,000 people, 20,000 people involved, they can absorb that. If you have three, how can that be absorbed? And, that's really where you have to look at the network effect. You got to look more than the monetary aspect of the token. You have to look at the network effect and how many people are engaged in this project. And having 10,000 people engaged in CTP versus 5,000, you're better off with 10,000. Then move it to 20,000. And we need to do the same thing with Hive. I mean, we need to get 150 to 200,000 daily users on Hive. Individual users, not accounts, active daily users, individuals. So that may be with all the bots and stuff, 300,000 accounts, 350,000 a day. But that's what we got to get to a day. You get that, you got $10 Hive, because the resource credits are just going to be eaten up. It's that simple. So these are basics to me, but basics that get overlooked. Like you said, everybody's burning.
Before we get out of here, I want to stir it up just before we dive out of here. Do you think a good idea would be to literally not attack, but challenge the Web3 content creators that use Web2? Do you think that's a fool's plan? Do you think there's any benefit to that? Like, call them out, like, you guys are pieces of work. Like, is there any point in that, or do you think it's just?
I think it's like the old adage. Here I am arguing with idiots on the internet. I mean, what are you going to say? What are you going to say to these crypto influencers? I mean, we've said it before. Even you look at Crypto Wendy. She just she uses Threads. How does she use Threads? She posts she drops the link to her Hive post of her YouTube video. And that's all the engagement she does. So, I mean, to her credit, she's at least doing something, but I would not call her a Web3 user. I would not call her engaged in any stretch of the imagination. But she's been here for a couple years, and she's never moved beyond it. And she's further along than most of the others. So what are you going to say to them? I mean, it's like, if you call them hypocrites, you and I have called them hypocrites. Where'd that get us? Nowhere. They're just going to do it. And we got Crypto O. He got kicked off YouTube. And he says, well, where am I going to go now? Maybe I'll go to library. It's like, go to 3Speak, you jackass. And it's like, you've been on Steam for 5 years. Hive Steam. You've been here for 5 years. And it's just, I don't know. It's what the only thing that'll change this, John, I think, is the mooning of the price. And then all of a sudden, people like you and I who have been busting our ass. And if it's from Leo, if it's from Hive, if it's from CTP, if it's from wherever, all of a sudden the price moons. It's like everybody will be like, you guys were lucky. And it's like, what are you, an idiot? We've been busting our ass for 5 years. We've been adding to our stake. We haven't been selling. And, at some point, we believe we will, enjoy those fruits. It's going to take a while, but
I think you need to come up with a new tagline, man. What are you, an idiot? Someone needs to make that a meme or a meme or mem.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, just you look at the stupid shit that people say and do online, and it's like, are they idiots? I mean, it's like, you tell them, and this is why I don't go on to Twitter much, because it's like, I'd be arguing all day with a bunch of morons. You know, it's if you're challenged on something, you know, like we started addicted, you challenge addicted and you show them what's up and you make a valid point to him, he'll internalize it. He'll
Yeah.
he'll analyze it and he'll say, you're right. Or, you know, he'll grasp what you were saying. Um, you know, most of these people will not. And it's like, you know, you can show them all the evidence in the world. It's like, you know, when I talk to people about money, it's like, I mean, have you ever like read what the Fed does? No.
Yeah.
This is how it is. No, that's not how it is. They don't
Mm.
create that. I mean, but you know, it's like they don't want to research. It's just easier to adhere to the religion. And crypto influencers are a religion now. They talk about Web3, they promote Web3, but they certainly don't use Web3. And we have it on Hive. I mean, it's look at all the people on from Hive on Twitter. And they say, well, it's because we're doing outreach. Where's it in the numbers? I mean, you
Yeah.
know, show me the proof that
I, d-
we any growth.
I think it comes down to product of your product. And this is what's funny, you know, going a little long here, but I don't care if John and no offense to you, John and Task are known as Hive creators when Hive moons. Don't care. Don't want it. I don't need the shine. I'd rather have a whole bunch of Hive power, a whole bunch of Leo power, a whole bunch of CTP power where I can be upvoting, curating, and spreading the tokens out to people. And if there's 100,000 more eyeballs here, that's what I care about. I don't need to be famous online. I don't need it. I don't care about it. I want to see this token go out to more and more people. And let the crypto influencers come. By all means, when the token price moons, come on over. Come. I don't care. Bring all your people. Talk, you can be the number one rewarded author or creator on Hive for the next 6 years. I don't care. Just bring the people. Bring the people. And that's what I want to see. I don't need the
I couldn't tell you, John, and you know part of this, but I can't tell you who upvotes me. I have no idea, especially on Hive. I mean, I have a little better idea on Leo, but I'm always in Leo. So, you know, block trades, they call me Dan, Starkers, Marky. They might be upvoting me, they might not be. I have honestly no idea. Hell, I don't even know if you upvote my stuff or not. I have no idea how many followers I have. I don't look. I couldn't tell you on either of my accounts how many followers they have. And I couldn't even tell you if you told me how many followers I have, if that's a lot or not, because I don't pay attention to anybody's following. I can't tell you because I don't have to claim it. I can't tell you how much Leo I earn. I have absolutely no idea because it all gets mixed in because I have the delegation. So I earn the 16%. So, you know, when I power it up, I know what I see what's there, but
right.
I can't tell you what I'm earning off my posts. I don't even pay attention. And now, especially out of my LE account, because a lot of that's upvotes and threads, I think I don't even know. So I don't even look at what the rewards are. So you're right. Being a known creator, content creator on Hive, my niche is so small that if Hive becomes successful, photography, politics, news, stuff that I'm not even sports. I mean, EPL, soccer, Belimo, football. Uh, these things I have no knowledge of. And you could get influencers on Hive who talk about EPL or who talk about politics or who talk about photography or talk about all this stuff that I have no understanding of, no skills in, which are going to be much bigger arenas, I would think, than anything I touch upon. So, I mean, the idea that I couldn't be usurped, you could be usurped, is probably pretty foolhardy. We could be, and that's fine. I mean, I would cry about it. It's like whatever. It's like I don't give a shit. I got a lot of high power. I want more high power. I got a lot of Leo power. I want more Leo power. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do to get it. But how much that comes in each day, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
it's I've been getting blasted again with the downvotes.
Really? Again? You
Yeah,
get nice.
yeah.
Congratulations. It's good.
So
I,
I mean, when they complain about downvotes and people saying, "Well, you get blown to hell," it's like I've had some of the biggest whales on Hive, you know, tee me up.
protecting the rewards pool.
Well, it's you know at least that is something I can respect. I can respect that. If you say if that's the approach you want to take, fine. Um, that's a lot better than John. I downvoted your shit because I
I
disagree with
disagree
what you
with
said.
you. Yeah.
I don't downvote your shit when I disagree with you. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
uh,
I mean that's fine. Again, it's a whole nother show. We'll talk about it on Thursday. The downvotes to me, it's like if you want to downvote, obviously it's your stake. You can do whatever you want, but if you disagree with me and you're downvoting me because you disagree, that's just weird. Like, make a comment if you want to talk about it or whatever. But protecting the rewards pool, getting away
or,
from
or
the
or
abuse,
just ignore it. I
or
mean,
ignore it. Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I don't even pay attention to
it's like
that.
there's a lot of stuff I see on threads, especially. Um, just ignore it. I mean, I see
Mm,
people complain about this, that, or the other. Just ignore it. I mean, it's,
mm,
I understand we still need more filtering tools. That's being worked on, but,
yeah.
there's the follow feed there, and that narrows things down. And
We're still only 3 years old, man. Just
yeah,
little pups, just getting to learn how to walk, man. So big
yeah,
things coming though.
it's,
So
yeah, I mean, and that's part of being a trailblazer. You're an early adopter if you're on Hive right now. You're an early
yeah,
adopter if you're in Threads. You're an early adopter if you're in CTP. And, quite frankly, most people aren't cut out for success. I've come to that conclusion, especially watching crypto for these last 5 years.
right,
Most people are not cut out for it. They should join about 3 years from now. They should go away and come back in 3 years when we have shit straight, when we have infrastructure in place, when we have nice apps, and then they'll say, "But I can't earn anything." Well, that you're not capable of doing it because you're not willing to put in the effort to go through the tough times, the learning curve, and when things aren't exactly, great. I mean, there's bugs. It's like, so what? You
yeah,
know, they'll fix it. It was like that dopey one alpha ran into this because he has one alpha dot Leo, and for
mm,
like the first two weeks in Leo, with the new UI, you couldn't. It was either upvote or comment. I think you could upvote, but you couldn't comment for some reason to somebody with a dot or a hyphen in their name.
right.
That was a pain in the ass for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, but
And
they
they
got it
fixed it.
straightened out. They
Yeah,
fixed it. You know,
trailblazing, man, dude. Good show. Thursday we'll talk about upvotes and downvotes. So,
yeah, I
yeah,
kept trying to go in the threadcast and answer there. So I'll get the threadcast up a little earlier next week. So
cool.
or Thursday.
No worries. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we will see you on Thursday.